Hi guys, this is Mrs. Walters, and I'm trying to figure out how I forgot my vocabulary cards at school. So I have these vocabulary words that are on our Connect Ed, our red box. So we're going to go over them, and then I'm going to read a fun story today. So I'm going to see if everything will work together. So anyway, first word is conflict. Say it, conflict, and let's clap it. Conflict. All right, two syllables, conflict. A conflict is when you have a disagreement with someone. All right, so in this picture, it shows that both children want that ball, right? So they have a conflict. They have to figure out how to settle their conflict. And this week, we're learning about working together and problem solving, basically, is what our is what we're focusing on this week. And our stories are going to be about problem solving and things like that. So we're going to talk about conflict and how people solve a conflict. All right. So there's a good way. Maybe one person can just grab it and run away. Or there's a better way. They can talk it out, decide that they're going to have one person use it for a little bit and then maybe another person. So once you think about some conflicts that you've had and how you've decided to solve those conflicts. All right. Next word is fair. And fair, listen to this. It says, John did not think it was fair that his sister got a bigger cup of hot chocolate than he did. So you may have heard your parents say, life isn't fair, right? So being fair is kind of a tricky word because if it's fair, it means it's reasonable. It follows the rules. Okay. So if you are playing by the rules, if you're playing a game like Uno or something, you can play fair, right? So when John doesn't think it's fair that his sister gets something, it's not always equal. Okay. Fair is not always equal. So just because maybe you don't have what your brothers or sisters have, maybe it's because you're younger than them or you're older than them, something like that. Okay, so fair means that it's reasonable and it's like following a rule. All right, next word. Remember, when you hear them in my story, you're going to put your hands up like this. All right, next word is argument. So when you have a disagreement, when you have a conflict, a lot of times you also then have an argument, and that's the words that come from your mouth. Two friends have an argument over who won the game. Okay, they have a conflict, and so now they are arguing. Okay, that's the verb argument, three syllables, argument. All right, so it's a fight that uses words. If they decide that if she decides that she won the game and she just like hits him and runs away, that's not an argument, that's a conflict, right? But they did not argue about anything. Argument is with words, saying, no, that was mine. No, I won the game. No, I did this. Okay. So argument is with words. And I got to get down to the next one. The next one is shift. So in this picture, it says, I need to shift my plant so it can get more sunlight. So to shift is to move. Okay. So it could be moving something like the plant, taking the plant from one place to another thing. You could shift in your seat so that you sit more correct in your seat. You can also shift your thinking. If I think that I am right and I have an argument and I'm talking to somebody about my disagreement, right, my conflict, I could maybe say, oh, wait, I didn't really think about it that way. Remember, habit 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So it's saying, listen, figure out what the other person is wanting and thinking, and maybe you'll shift how you think about that situation, and you can kind of come up with a new way to do that. So shift kind of has two different things. You can shift something, an object, to a different spot. It's to move it to a different spot. Or you can shift your mindset, meaning you can think about something in a new way. Okay. And the last word is risk. So if you walk through deep mud, there is a risk that your shoe will get stuck. Okay, a risk is something that sometimes you're willing to take. And it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to happen. A risk is not guaranteed. So if you take a risk, it might be a good risk or a scary risk, right? And it's not guaranteed. That's part of the risk. This one says a risk is a danger or the possibility that something may bad happen. Bad may happen. Sorry. So if I don't brush my teeth every morning when I wake up, the risk is that I may have cavities, right? So it's kind of like, do you want to really take that risk? Okay. So I'm going to see how I can pause this, and then I will get to the story part. Oh, I paused it, and now it's not letting me see what I just had up. Okay, so here's the story. It's called The Cat's Bell. And remember, if you hear some of those words, you're going to go like this so that we know that you are paying attention. And this is a fable, which means it's a story that we tell over and over that has a lesson to be learned. Okay, so this is called The Cat's Bell. A hungry little mouse peeked out of her hole. Her tummy rumbled. She could see a table loaded with good things to eat. The people in her house had finished dinner. Look at all the lovely leftovers, she squeaked. The other mice sniffed and sighed. They were hungry too. So much yummy food, said the little mouse's friends, and we can't have any. It's not fair. The hungry little mouse nodded. The food was there, but so was Max the cat. He was looking at the mouse hole and swishing his tail back and forth. Her tummy rumbled again. I'm going to get supper, she said. Don't go, squeaked her friends. You could get hurt. So she's wanting to know if she should take the risk to go and get that food. Look at all that food up there. Looks pretty good. We have to do something about that cat then, said the first little mouse. But what can we do? Asked her friend. The other mice were listening to them. We need to find a dog to chase Max away, one said. That's silly, said another. Where are we going to find a dog? Besides, what if the dog chases us too? We can't risk that. It's not worth the risk on that one. Let's just wait until he goes outside, said a timid mouse. That means a shy mouse. But he could sneak back in, said the older mouse. That's the trouble. We never know when he's coming. Soon the mice were in the middle of a big conflict. There we go. One mouse after another shouted ideas about what to do. Each mouse tried to shout louder than the others. The first little mouse couldn't stand the noise. She put her paws over her ears. See her right there? Putting her paws over her ears. She's had enough of this, right? Then the little mouse had an idea. Noise, that's the solution, she shouted. Taking her paws from her ears, Max sneaks up on us because he's so quiet. If we hear him coming, we can run away safely. The other mice nodded. What we need to do, said the first mouse, is put a bell on the cat. All the mice jumped up and down in excitement. They twirled their tails and clapped their paws. What a wonderful idea! Then a wise old mouse spoke up. Yes, he said, it's a good idea, but let me ask you this. Who will bell the cat? So who's going to actually put the bell on the cat? The mice stopped clapping. They looked at each other. Who would take such a risk and put a bell on the cat? Not me, said one, and another, and another. You do it. No, you. They pushed and shouted at each other. None of the mice wanted to get close to that cat. Another argument was starting. So the first argument was what they would do to get that food. And now they have an argument of who's actually going to do it. Stop, cried the little mouse. There's no need to quarrel. So quarrel is another word for arguing. Okay, if you have a conflict, you might quarrel. It's another word. We must all work together. the mice got quiet and shifted their feet. So they're moving their feet to a new place. I know where there's a bell, said the timid mouse. It's in the child's room. When Max goes outside, I'll get the bell, offered a strong mouse. I can find a ribbon, said the little mouse's friend. We'll string the bell on the ribbon, said the three young mice, and we'll put it where the people will find it with a note that says, For Max, said the two grown-up mice. Early the next morning, all the mice were watching when the people came into the kitchen for breakfast. Oh, look at this pretty ribbon with a bell, said the woman, and it's for Max. She quickly tied it on Max. He looked very silly as he ran to hide, the bell jingling with every step. All the little mice were thrilled, which means they were really happy. They couldn't wait for the people to finish breakfast so that the mice could have theirs. So they decided the way to bell the cat was to get the people to actually do it for them, and they didn't even have to get close to it. So they tricked him by just thinking about some of the solutions that they could come up with to solve this problem. And notice that they didn't just come up with it on the first try. They came up with a couple different solutions. So in writing today, I'm going to have you write about how else could have they scared the cat away or kept it away so that they can get the food. I want you to think about some solutions. If you were a mouse, what would you say besides getting a dog to scare it away? What are some other solutions that you might come up with that help the mice so that they can get the food safely? All right, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk to you later.